Hey everyone, welcome back to the Inspired Method YouTube channel. And we're here from Miami at the Growth Conference with Grant Cardone, and today I've got a special guest here, Matt Bergie. We met him through the Ambassador Program, and he is a master at selling things. No problem. And so what we're going to do today, because we're all about helping businesses to succeed, because we want to help you beat the odds, right? The odds are every small business has the 50% chance of going out of business. So one of the biggest reasons is they don't know how to get more sales and more customers. So what we're going to talk about today is the importance of that and what your method and process is of selling. So go ahead and tell us a little bit of your backstory and how you got started, and what will be helpful for our audience.
Sure, yeah. So I think the backstory is actually very unique to myself. Of course, everyone's story is unique, but I think each person has to consider where they're starting from. And where I was starting from when I started sales is I was selling at the cash register, and I started to get really good at that. So I moved into door-to-door sales. And when I did door-to-door sales, the first time I went to go knock on a door, I was so nervous, I was shaking. And it was so hard to approach. And what I was selling at the time was lawn care.
Okay.
And the training that I had received to sell lawn care was, here's the machine, here's how you start it, and then did 5 feet of a lawn, turned it back off, dropped me in a neighborhood, gave me a flyer, and just said, go to the doors and get the sales. It blew my mind. I didn't know I was doing a door-to-door sales job until I had done that. So first thing I did was I sat on the curb for about 30 minutes and contemplated my life choice. They had driven me to this neighborhood, and they dropped me on the curb about 45 minutes from where I was. So my options were to figure out how I'm going to get this sales thing done, or I could take a cab home, which could have been, I don't know, 50 bucks. And I was a kid at the time, so I was working about 50 to 100 hours a week in minimum wage jobs. And I was doing everything I could to get above that average life that I was living. And I realized that sales would probably be the best direction. So I took the better choice in my opinion. I sat down and read the flyer, spent about 30 minutes reading this whole flyer, memorized it word for word for word. And it wasn't really a sales pitch actually, it was just telling you the benefits of the service.
Okay.
So I go knock on my first door, and the guy opens and said, hey, I'm here doing lawn service, and I described what it was. And he says like, okay, that sounds kind of cool, how much? And I was like, 100 bucks. And he's like, it's a bit expensive. And I was like, okay. And then he shut the door. So obviously there was no sale there. So I wasn't some kind of like prodigy that just walked into this and became successful. But I realized just there that I had to do things better, and I kept pushing to succeed and pushing to succeed. And what I had overcome in that first knocking on the door was how shy and anxious and how stressful it was. But after I had knocked on the first door, the second one was easier, and the third one was easier. And then I hustled so hard because I didn't want to be stuck in that average life that by the end of the day, I actually sold the most out of everybody on the team.
Wow. That's amazing.
From hustle.
Wow, that is amazing. So for you, in your small business, I know a lot of people rely on repeat and referral business, but how do you get those first customers that don't know you? I know your grandma's going to buy from you, and your mom and your uncle and your cousins will probably buy your product or your service, but what about the strangers that you need their money and they need your service? How do you go about getting those people? So tell me a little about how you set up a sales process or a sales system.
Sure. So I'll give you kind of my approach. And what I've done with that door-to-door is I moved it into a corporate business-to-business sales, sales career you could call it. And I was counting up the other day, I've made over 100,000 cold phone calls since that first day.
Wow. How do you do that? Because most people can't even pick up the phone for one phone call. How do you get to 100,000 phone calls?
That's right. I'll give you the format. It's actually quite easy. So what I call my approach, and I've recently built a course on it, is called objection-free phone sales.
Okay.
So usually what people are scared of is they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, or they're worried that they're going to get some negative pushback. So the first part is that you have to make a quick introduction on the phone, because they need to know who you are, what's your company, and why you're calling. But then once you clear up why you're calling, now you need to give them the benefits of why they should listen to you anymore. So that was that door-to-door pitch.
Right.
You knock the door, hey, it's Matt Bergie from Lawn Service Company, whatever. I'm here today for this, and I give them the benefits. So it's introduction into a benefits pitch. And then if your benefits pitch is good enough, then they'll start to listen to you. So then you can bridge into a qualifying questioning process. So is that something you might be interested in? Is that something that you've ever thought of? And you can get them talking.
Very good. So, business owners, think about the benefits to the customer. Who is your ideal and likely buyer, right? So think about what the benefits are that you offer, not just, I'm an electrician, I can sparky your life up. It's like, why do you need to hire you? Why should they choose you over the electrician down the street or the plumber across the alley? Why do they need to talk to you? So lay out the features, advantages, the benefit of working with you specifically. So I guess tell me a little bit about the next part of the process and how you, let's say you're setting up either a cold call script, or what are some other ways that you get your leads and how do you contact them?
So leads is on the marketing side, right? And cold calling out to clients is a form of lead generation.
Outbound, yeah.
Yeah, of course. So, of course, from your guys' side, like any sort of paid traffic, if you're doing paid ads, if you're doing like organic lead gen, whatever kind of lead gen you're doing is great. You should also be reaching out to people that generate the lead. So you need to make that phone call. And you might think that it's a warm call because you have that lead, but actually it's still a cold call.
Right.
You don't know why they clicked. They didn't click because they're interested. They just clicked because they were curious, maybe, right?
Yeah.
So that lead, you should always approach it as a cold call. Even if I get an incoming lead where somebody says, hey, please contact me, I'm very interested, I still approach it as a cold call because you don't know. At that moment, it was a hot call, but maybe it's turned into a cold call because they changed their mind or their attention got grabbed,
right?
Something like that.
Okay, so you follow the same format, the introduction, the reason why you're calling, and then the benefits.
That's right.
The same process. Yeah. So it's not, don't overcomplicate it. Don't have a separate process for each different contact. Go through the same thing. Because then you can almost systematize it and make it automatic.
That's right. That's right.
So,
and you can scale it. A lot of people are interested to scale their business.
Okay.
And if you don't have a systematized approach, how can you start to scale your business? You're going to teach 15 people how to do 15 different things.
Right.
You teach one process and let them tailor it to what works for them.
Very good. So you run sales teams where you are.
Yep.
So what are some things that you do with your team every day to ensure that you're not getting leakage from your leads? So people are coming in or they get that good lead, it's not being wasted.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to set a goal for your team, right? So you need to set whatever the goal is. How many people are we going to reach out to? How many leads? And you should be following up all of your leads. Now, if you have some crazy lead gen where you're getting thousands, you can't make thousands of calls a day.
Right.
But maybe you need more salespeople. Or maybe you need more qualified leads.
Right.
Right? But the goal is always to have no leads at the end of the day. Whatever that means for your business. Because the longer you wait to follow up your lead, the colder they're getting. And they might even be upset. Hey, I requested info, but that was a week ago. You're getting back to me now? I'm not interested anymore. I don't want to work with you guys. How long is it going to take for you to fulfill your promise? Is that going to take more than a week?
Yeah, so if you are able to follow up with a lead within 5 minutes, you increase your chances 21 times of closing that deal. So it's very important. Speed is very, very important when it comes to an inbound lead.
Absolutely.
So if there's any parting wisdom you have for the entrepreneurs who are watching, what would that be? What was one nugget you can give us that will change our business today?
Yeah, so if I go back to when I first achieved the first goal that I ever set for myself, and I had a certain income figure in mind, wanted to buy a house, nice car. Once I hit all that, I hit the biggest depression that I've ever hit in my life. And it lasted for a really long time. And what dug me out was actually personal development and personal growth. And that's the thing that's made me successful in anything that I've ever done, is that first time is going to suck. Your first video is going to suck. Your first marketing campaign is going to suck. Your first cold call is going to suck. And that's fine. And if it's great, congratulations, even better. But sometimes when people do the first thing great, it's actually the worst thing for them because they think that they're great.
Right.
Which maybe that was a moment of brilliance, but there's so many skills you need for everything that you want to do in life. So my message would be continue to grow, continue to improve, never be satisfied with where you're at. Now be happy with where you're at. Be happy that you got to such a great place and be very grateful for all the things that it affords you to do. As you climb the mountain, the higher you get, the views get nicer. Right? So appreciate all the hard work that you've done, but also realize all the hard work that you still have to do. And we were just listening to John Maxwell, who's 71 years old, and said he still learns to this day. 71 years old. I don't know if any of you guys are older than 71. Maybe at 72 you can stop. But if you're less than 71, you keep going.
Absolutely.
And John Maxwell says he keeps going too, right?
Yeah.
That's
Very
the key
good.
point. Keep growing, never stop.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Subscribe to our channel because we're going to have all kinds of great guests like this in the future, and give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. So we'll see you again next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.